Good morning, and thanks for tuning into the Trade Setup. I'm Neeraj Shah, and let's take stock of the global news flow first. Remember, we spoke yesterday about how there were a bunch of Federal Reserve officials which are going to talk at various events in yesterday's session in the US about their inflation thoughts. Now, the officials warned of more pain to come as they raised interest rates to fight inflation. In fact, Fed President James Bullard expected the minimum federal funds rate target needed at 5.125% midpoint, much higher than what traders are betting on. Amazon CEO says job cuts will continue into 2023. Apparent pain across the board in the US. This is what the Fed wants, of course, to bring down inflation, so it's likely working. Oil is poised for a second weekly decline on gloomy demand outlook, and this is despite Saudi Arabia getting in those steep cuts. So lots happening out there, but overall a bit of a slowdown. The US markets showed some signs of fatigue, if you will, from the selling as well. So about a 0.35% downtick on the Nasdaq, but nothing really. The other cues haven't, I don't think, have materially changed. Maybe they yield a little bit, 3.76, yeah, from 3.7 odd. But otherwise, hardly any changes thereof. And the SGX Nifty too, indicating a start, which is about what, 0.3, 0.4%, maybe, yeah, 0.25% actually, just about 45 odd points. So hardly any changes there. We've entered this period of sideways move slash consolidation. That's the trade setup, frankly, because I think the Nifty continues to consolidate amidst the lack of broader market participation. If you just look at the list of gainers and losers, frankly, on a given day, you will see that the number of double-digit movers have reduced quite significantly. FIs have been bullish on both stock futures and index futures, but have started to pare down the single stock bets in FNO for sure. PSU Bank Index stood out, was in the green yesterday as well. Amongst, I mean, I think PSU banks and real estate, or maybe only PSU banks, were the only indices in the green. And Chartists are very constructive on the prospects for the short term. So not only the Indian Chartists that we've spoken to yesterday, Lawrence Blanco of CLSA also mentioned that within banks, if you really want to distill what is doing well, then you have to look at the PSU banks. That those stocks are looking very, very constructive. Yeah, he mentioned about SBI, I think, or PSU banks in general. I think the SBI and BOB conversation it's a fundamental expert. And by the way, we'll be talking to Gautam Dugar today about the PSU banking index as well and the results thereof. So lots happening out there in that pocket. So something to watch out for. FIs were net buyers yesterday in the cash market, so that is a slight positive on the cash side. But really, I mean, we have this very sideways kind of a move, and therefore not much to be anticipated. Let's go on to the stocks to watch, and Nykaa clearly stands out. TPG is offered to sell about 54.2 million shares in Nykaa, as per Bloomberg. Now, viewers, keep in mind two things out here. One, don't correlate what is going to happen today in Nykaa to what happened yesterday in Paytm. Now, Paytm, as we all know, got or rather corrected by about 10 odd percent in trade yesterday. It opened lower, it went down, and it stayed low. It didn't do too much, but there's also a point that Paytm shares were being offered at a much larger discount as compared to what the offer on Nykaa will be. I think the term sheet that Bloomberg accessed mentioned about a 0.5% discount. So hardly any changes thereof in the offer price at least. Do watch out though. There could be some pressure on Nykaa early trade. Let's wait and watch if that lasts. Fortis could be interesting today. SEBI's asked IHH to get a court order on open offer, and IHH, of course, is now getting legal counsel advice on next steps. You have to admit that under this group, Fortis has kind of gotten its act together, the listed stock and the prospects thereof. It'll be interesting to see what happens here going ahead. I mean, the stock needs solution on the IHH side for it to move higher. On the valuation front, it's always been a laggard, but there are these events which hold Fortis back. Let's wait and watch what's the outcome here of. Some stocks in news include an Aditya Birla Fashion that's partnered Galleries Lafayette to open India stores and a dedicated e-commerce platform. One more string of pearls for EBFRL. BEL has signed a pact with Armored Vehicles Nigam to address Indian defense and export markets. NDTV, Income Tax Department, has stayed the tax demand of nearly 60 crores. And Ahluwalia contracts, it's secured two contracts cumulatively worth rupees 530 crores. So some stocks to monitor today in terms of news flow. A stock in focus to my mind is Titan. It lost about 2.3% in yesterday's session to close at levels of nearly 2582. It's now closed below a 3-month rising trendline support yesterday, as per Chartists. The stock has fallen about 7.5% from its 52-week high levels of 2791. And the OI is increased by 40% in that period, which suggests a short build-up. It's trying to figure out why would there be a large short build-up in Titan. Couldn't come up with too many reasons. If anything, they've done really well, just that they didn't guide towards constructive margin performance going ahead. But aside of that, everything looked okay. But there are shorts in the system. To watch out for Titan. To watch out for PSUs in general, right? I was talking about PSU banks earlier, but PSUs in general, right? The PSU, or the state-owned enterprises index, has outperformed the Nifty by about 13.4 percentage points in calendar year 22. This is as per Jefferies. They're saying outperformance is driven by state-owned banks, defense plays, power utilities, and Coal India in particular. The PSU index PE is 8.4 times, which is about a 58% discount to the Nifty versus the historical average of a 36% discount to the Nifty, which is the 10-year average, which is quite stunning. Despite the upmost that we've seen in some of the PSU stocks, is still a hefty discount compared to averages. Jefferies says that their preferred PSUs include State Bank of India, BEL, Concor, and Power Grid, and they would want to stick to some of these names. But PSUs are a hot lot, and no surprise that uh, this is a space that everybody is focusing on. So do watch out for this thing. What else? There is. Have I missed out on anything? Uh, no, globally bunch of results. That's okay. Glenmark Pharma Investors Day was yesterday evening, viewers, and they have they've spoken about double-digit revenue growth over the next 4 years. So fairly strong guidance given by Glenmark. Glenmark Life Sciences Investors Day yesterday evening, mid-teen growth. Plus, they're saying that CDMO will double by 2027. So that is pretty interesting. Remember 2 days ago we were talking about I think UBS on PB FinTech with a price target of 600. Now Morgan Stanley has a PB FinTech report with a price target of 620. So do watch out for that. But otherwise, yeah, not too much. This is about it. I mean, watch out for the PSUs again. IRFC, Engineers India, all of them have fairly high delivery percentages as well. So that is something to be monitored for sure. And of course, for all of us Indians, and for people at large as well, I think you need to watch out for how India is all set to make history by launching the private rocket Vikram S today. That's something that everybody should keep an eye out for. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Have a great weekend.